Welcome to another video on Android CICD series. In the previous video, we simply wrote a CICD script which was basically able to check out the code, assemble, and then depending upon which particular version of the application build variant that you wanted to build, you could build it. This is fine. If you are able to do this as a demo, it is perfectly fine. But if you show this particular CI/CD script in your team, then probably you are not going to impress anybody. The reason being, it doesn't demarcate the various different flows that you typically work in your Android team. Let me elaborate what do I mean. When you are developing a mobile application, you are raising PRs. That is, you cut a branch and then you raise a PR and you are trying to merge your code in that particular branch. And let's assume that at that point in time, when you raise a PR, you trigger this particular CI/CD. Right now it is manual, but let's assume that it gets triggered whenever PR gets raised. And as a part of this particular PR trigger, what will happen? As per the script that we have written, it is going to generate a artifact and upload it. Now the question that you want to ask is, do you want really that to happen? When you are raising a PR, your interest is only knowing that whether the code is working perfectly fine. You really don't want to generate an artifact and then upload it. And then of course you want to run a kind of some kind of a sanity check that whether lint is all proper. You want to introduce detect test cases, unit test cases, all those are running, all the test cases are passing. That is the main idea behind when you trigger that as a part of PR. But that's not what our CI is doing. Let's assume that next later point in time you ensure that your code is perfectly fine and now you want to merge that particular code in the main branch. And let's assume that you have configured this particular CI to run again. When you merge, you are almost generating around 6 artifacts and uploading it. But when you are merging, all you want to make sure is that just check that after merging the code, anything is breaking and whether staging build, which is a UAT build typically, that is working perfectly fine or not. Other than that, you don't want to do anything like generating the artifact. But as per this, what we have done, we have written release sign code here. So it is using signing keys. The question that we want to ask is, do you really need to generate a signed key whenever a PR is getting raised or whenever a PR is getting merged into a main branch? It doesn't really make any sense at all to do the signing at this moment. So if you see here, you can see that in this particular CI, I am signing my APK with a signing signature, digital signature. This is something that I want to do as a part of probably the actual final release. I don't want this to happen when a PR is getting raised or a PR is getting merged in the main. What you have to really do is split the responsibilities and use each of these CIs for different purposes. And I will not be showing you how to write all those different scripts because it will be only subset of this particular thing. But instead, I will show you how they will be different from each other. For example, let me show you this PR check. So if you see here, what it does, whenever there is a pull request on the main branch, it runs this. What does it run? It basically checks out the code, sets up the SDK, and then it basically runs lint and unit test cases and checks whether it can build a QA free debug. You can also assemble a QA pay debug, which are different variants of our application. And you can see that this particular CI is not at all doing anything which is related to signing, and it is also not generating lot of different complicated assemblies, and it is not even uploading because that is not even our intention here when we are running our CI for the PR check. And now let me show you how it actually looks like when we run. So this is Android PR, and what I will do is let me go to a new pull request from say video 4 or video 5 and let me create a pull request. And as soon as I create a pull request, that particular CI automatically starts running. And you can see that it is running here. It automatically gets triggered when you raise a particular PR. Why? Because we have written that pull branch against main. If you want to trigger this on any other branches, you have to just mention that particular branch name here and it will work perfectly fine. And it will basically then publish a report of whether something successfully worked or not. So let it complete. We will come back to this whether it is green or red later. Now let me come back here. Once this is done, what we have to do, we have to merge this particular PR into main, and for that we have another one. This is another new CI/CD pipeline that we have written. And what is the difference between this and this? It is pretty much almost same. This is also not signing anything, but the main difference is this gets triggered whenever you push something on the main, and PR check triggers when you raise a pull request against main branch. So why do we need this particular thing, the main build? Because we want to ensure that when the code has got merged, whether everything is running fine or not on the main branch. The merged code is working fine or not on the main branch. So that is the reason why if you see here, in this case, we are assembling the QA free debug and staging paid debug. This is purely depending upon your personal preference, what kind of builds that you want to really run. In this case, I just want to demonstrate it, and that is why I am using it. It could be different in your case. Here in this case, that is on the main build, when the code gets merged, I am uploading the artifacts that I would have got generated, because maybe you want to give these artifacts, which are basically APK files, for the testing. But in the PR check build, I am not generating any artifacts because that is not even necessary. But in the main build, when the code gets merged, probably you want to generate the artifact and give it for testing. That is the reason why I am uploading those APKs. Let me see whether this is done, and you can check what is happening in this particular pull request by going there. So it is still running. So let's just wait what will happen, and we will come back and see.
A few moments later,
you can see that all the checks have got passed. So this all looks green. Now I can do a merge pull request. That basically means the code from the video file will get merged into the main, and that should basically trigger this particular CI pipeline, the main build. You won't be able to see it here, but what you can do is you can go to the actions and see that it is running. So this is running because we just merged the code into the main, and that should basically upload the artifacts as per the code that we have written here. So let the main run. We have to cover the one last thing, which is the actual signing part. So for that, I have written another separate YML file, which is release build. Let me split it so that we can see it side by side. If you see here, the main difference is up to installation of SDK, everything looks same. Then here in the last part, the difference is I start signing it, and then even the builds that I am assembling here are not QA and assemble staging debug builds. Here I am actually generating the production builds. That is the reason why I have written environment is equal to production, and then it signs the application and uploads the artifact. Instead of writing one CI script, you have to write multiple CI script with separate responsibilities on when you want them to be triggered. Don't have just one common CI which we had initially written. It was only written just for the demonstration purpose on how to really write a CI script. It is okay if you write it, but only for experimentation purpose to check whether everything is working fine or not. But don't use this kind of CI with, say, PR dispatch or main merge. And in the release build, if you pay attention here, this is not auto triggered. It is a workflow dispatch. That basically means you don't want the signed application artifact to be generated automatically. It has to be deliberate one. Somebody has to manually really trigger it. Otherwise, this should not get triggered, because you don't want a signed application APK file to be available randomly anywhere. That's not a good sign. So that's it in this particular video. In the next video, we are going to revisit the part of what exactly it means to sign an application. And we are pretty sure nearing the end of CICD series. And after signing, it's about uploading. That is how things will move forward. Probably another couple of videos in Android CICD. That brings us to the end of this particular video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye.